The sky was clear and the breeze mild as Zarklith's shuttle descended towards the Earth's surface, a planet famed throughout the galaxy for its blue oceans and green landscapes. Today, however, he was not here to admire the scenery. As a proud warrior of the Zeltron race, known for their martial prowess and dominating the lesser civilizations of the Outer Rim, Zarklith's mission was clear: to infiltrate the Terran Military Academy, learn their strategies, and determine if humans posed a threat to the Zeltron supremacy in the galaxy. The Terran Military Academy, nestled on a sprawling campus surrounded by rugged mountains, was the cradle of Earth's finest military leaders. Its reputation for producing tactically sound and physically formidable officers had reached even the distant stars of Zeltron. As his shuttle landed on the designated pad, Zarklith's towering figure cast a long shadow over the tarmac, his armored suit gleaming under the sun. A formation of human cadets awaited him, their uniforms crisp and their faces impassive. At the front of the formation, a man with sharp eyes and a chiseled jaw stepped forward: Commander Franklin, the Academy's superintendent. His handshake was firm, and his voice carried a calm authority as he welcomed Zarklith to Earth. "We are honored to host a warrior of Zeltron. We hope your time here will be enlightening," Commander Franklin said, gesturing towards the parade of cadets who began marching in precise synchronization. Zarklith's eyes narrowed slightly as he observed their movements. Each step was a testament to their rigorous training and discipline. The day proceeded with a tour of the facility. The Academy was a fortress of learning, equipped with state-of-the-art training fields, advanced tactical simulation rooms, and arenas that could adapt to any environment, from icy wastelands to scorched deserts. As they walked, Commander Franklin explained the philosophy behind each training module, emphasizing the integration of technology and human spirit. Zarklith listened, his mind racing. The sophistication of human military training was unexpected, challenging the preconceived notions he held about these seemingly primitive beings. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the Academy's grand buildings, a feeling of unease settled in his chest. This was no mere military institution. It was a breeding ground for warriors who could rival the fiercest of Zeltron fighters. Dinner was served in the grand mess hall, a vast room buzzing with the chatter of cadets. Zarklith sat at the high table with the Academy's top brass, observing the camaraderie and spirited debates among the young humans. They discussed strategies, past battles, and hypothetical scenarios, with a passion that was both admirable and alarming. As the evening drew to a close, Zarklith retired to his quarters, a well-appointed room with views of the training fields. Lying in the foreign bed, he couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's soldiers were not to be underestimated. The day had ended, but his mission was just beginning. Tomorrow, he would step onto the drill grounds, into the very heart of human military prowess. And there, he would see for himself whether the humans were potential allies, or if they were indeed a threat that needed to be quelled. Whatever the outcome, Zarklith knew his view of Earth and its inhabitants had changed irrevocably. Morning broke over the Terran Military Academy with the sharp sound of a bugle, signaling the start of the day. Cadets poured out of their barracks in tight formations, their movements crisp and deliberate. As Zarklith watched from his window, the organized chaos of human activity seemed almost choreographed. Today, he was scheduled to participate in physical and tactical training with the cadets, a prospect that both intrigued and unnerved him. Clad in his Zeltron battle attire, which was lighter yet significantly more resilient than any human-made armor, Zarklith made his way to the Academy's extensive drill grounds. The vast fields were segmented into various training areas, each bustling with cadets engaged in different forms of exercise and maneuvers. Commander Franklin met him at the edge of the training field, his expression unreadable. "Today you'll join Alpha Squad for their morning drills. We believe this will give you a first-hand experience of our training regimen," he explained, gesturing towards a group of cadets who were performing a series of complex physical exercises. Zarklith nodded, stepping onto the field with a mixture of anticipation and pride. As a Zeltron, physical prowess was ingrained in him from birth, and he was confident in his ability to outperform the human cadets. The squad leader, a robust young man named Lieutenant Carter, approached him with a polite nod. "We're running combat fitness tests today. Hope you're ready to sweat," he said with a slight grin. The tests began with endurance running. Zarklith kept pace easily at first, his long strides matching the cadets' quick, measured steps. However, as the run progressed over rough terrain and steep inclines, he found the human stamina astonishing. They ran not just with speed, but with a relentless determination that seemed to embody their spirit. Next were the obstacle courses, designed to simulate battlefield conditions. Zarklith excelled here, his alien agility allowing him to navigate the high walls and rope swings with ease. Yet the cadets' teamwork in overcoming obstacles impressed him. They lifted each other, coordinated their movements, and communicated silently with hand signals, showcasing a unity that was rarely seen in Zeltron military practices. As the morning wore on, they moved to tactical drills involving non-lethal weaponry. Here, Zarklith expected the raw power and precision of his species to dominate. However, the cadets employed cunning tactics, utilizing cover and diversion in ways that disoriented even him. Each move they made was calculated, with a clear understanding of their environment and opponent. Lieutenant Carter, observing his reactions, offered, "It's not just about strength or speed here. We train to think, adapt, and overcome. Every cadet here knows that the real strength of a soldier is not in how hard he hits, but in how smart he fights." As the drills concluded, Zarklith was physically spent but mentally alert, his mind racing with new strategies and respect for his temporary comrades. The human approach to warfare was vastly different from the Zeltron way. It wasn't just about individual prowess, it was about collective resilience and intellectual warfare. Returning to the locker room, Zarklith was silent, a rarity for someone of his boisterous nature. The morning's exercises had peeled back his layers of confidence, revealing a core of newfound respect and, admittedly, a sliver of doubt about his superiority. As he showered and changed, he pondered the upcoming sessions, especially the night operations scheduled for the evening. If the day had been this challenging, what lessons would the darkness hold for him? As dusk settled over the academy, a palpable tension hung in the air. Tonight was designed to test the cadets' skills in one of the most challenging environments: night operations. For Zarklith, who hailed from a world where nights were lit by the bioluminescence of its flora and fauna, darkness was an ally. His species' natural ability to see in low light was a significant advantage, one he was keen to leverage against the humans. Gathered at the edge of the Academy's simulated battlefield, a sprawling area equipped with sensors and artificial fog machines, Zarklith and the cadets received their briefing. The objective was clear: navigate through enemy lines, retrieve intelligence from a guarded facility, and return without being detected. The humans were outfitted with night vision gear, a technology Zarklith viewed as unnecessary but soon recognized as a testament to human ingenuity. Lieutenant Carter paired him with 3 cadets, forming a small recon team. "Stay sharp, follow our lead, and keep communication to a whisper," Carter instructed as they moved out, their bodies' shadows blending into the darkness. The operation started smoothly. Zarklith's superior vision allowed him to spot distant guards and navigate the team away from their patrols. However, the human cadets demonstrated impressive spatial awareness, moving through the terrain with a quiet precision that matched his own steps. Their use of technology, from silent communication devices to thermal imaging, showcased a different aspect of warfare that Zarklith had not fully appreciated. War fought not with brute strength, but with stealth and strategy. As they approached the objective, a complication arose. The facility was more heavily guarded than anticipated, with patrols doubling back at irregular intervals. Carter signaled for a pause, and the team huddled in the shadow of a thicket. "We need a diversion," he whispered, outlining a plan that involved creating a false alarm on the opposite side of the facility. Zarklith watched in silent admiration as 2 cadets slipped away, moving ghost-like across the field to set up the distraction. Moments later, the sound of a distant explosion sliced through the night, drawing guards away from their posts. The team seized the opportunity, slipping inside the facility with practiced ease. Inside, they quickly located the intelligence, a set of encrypted data files. As they prepared to extract, however, alarms blared through the facility. They had been detected. "Time to move. Fast," Carter hissed, leading the charge out. What followed was a frenetic escape, sprinting through dimly lit corridors and dodging incoming security teams. Zarklith's heart pounded not just with the exertion, but with exhilaration. The thrill of the chase, the near misses, the seamless integration of human technology and teamwork. It was a dance of shadows and strategy. They emerged into the cool night, data in hand, just as Academy trainers called the end of the exercise. Breathing heavily, the team members exchanged looks of relief and triumph. Lieutenant Carter clapped Zarklith on the back, a grin visible even in the low light. "Not bad for your first night op, huh?" As they walked back to debrief, Zarklith reflected on the evening's lessons. The humans had shown him that their strength lay in their adaptability and collective effort, qualities that were formidable in the silent, strategic ballet of night warfare. His respect for human capabilities deepened, tinged now with a cautious wariness. If this was the level of skill the Academy cadets possessed, what more could the seasoned soldiers of Earth achieve? Back in his quarters, as he prepared for bed, the alien soldier felt a mix of fatigue and anticipation. The night had been revealing, but the training days ahead promised even more insights into the complex tapestry of human military might. The following day brought a change of pace for Zarklith as he entered the simulation room, one of the most advanced facilities at the Terran Military Academy. This room was renowned for its ability to recreate any battlefield scenario, from historical Earth conflicts to hypothetical future engagements. Today, Zarklith was to be thrust into some of humanity's most pivotal battles, a prospect that both intrigued and unsettled him. Commander Franklin accompanied him to the simulation chamber, a large dome equipped with holographic projectors and sensory output devices. "We use these simulations to teach strategy and history," explained Franklin. "You'll experience firsthand the battles that have defined human warfare." The session began with a reenactment of the Battle of Thermopylae, an ancient clash where a small Greek force held off a vastly larger Persian army. Zarklith, taking the role of a Greek hoplite, was immediately struck by the intensity and ferocity of close-quarters combat. The simulation was brutally realistic. The clang of swords, the shout of warriors, the desperation and fierce pride of the defenders. Though it was centuries removed from modern warfare, the principles of courage, strategy, and sacrifice were timelessly resonant. As the scenario shifted, Zarklith found himself in the midst of World War II, at the Battle of Normandy. Now, he was a soldier storming the beaches under heavy fire, a stark contrast to the ancient warfare he had just experienced. The chaos of artillery, the roar of engines, and the grim determination of the soldiers around him painted a vivid picture of the evolution of human warfare. The use of technology, coordination, and sheer human will against overwhelming odds left Zarklith both impressed and horrified. The next simulation catapulted him further into the future, into a hypothetical conflict involving cyber warfare and autonomous drones in a megacity environment. This scenario was designed to test strategic thinking in a world where technology overshadowed traditional combat. Zarklith struggled with the complexity of electronic warfare, a field where humans had evidently invested much thought and resources. The seamless integration of cyber tactics with ground operations highlighted a new realm of warfare that was alien to him but crucial for modern human military strategies. Throughout each simulation, Zarklith was mentored by a virtual intelligence, programmed to adapt to his learning curve. The AI analyzed his decisions, suggesting alternative strategies and providing historical context. Notice the shift in tactics over centuries, the adaptation to new technologies and philosophies, the AI prompted, making Zarklith acutely aware of the dynamic nature of human warfare. Emerging from the simulation room, Zarklith felt as though he had lived through a millennium of battles in a single day. Each scenario had not only taught him new tactics, but had also given him a profound insight into the human psyche. Resilient, resourceful, and relentless. Commander Franklin was waiting outside, his expression curious. "What do you think?" he asked. Zarklith paused, choosing his words carefully. "I am beginning to understand why humans fight so fiercely," he replied. "It is not just for survival, but for something greater. A relentless drive towards something you call freedom and justice." The day's experiences had deepened his respect for human military capabilities, but more importantly, they had introduced him to the cultural and ethical underpinnings of human conflict. This understanding was crucial, Zarklith realized, for any leader or warrior who sought not only to win battles, but to understand their enemy. As he returned to his quarters, his mind replayed the day's lessons. Tomorrow's training would no doubt be challenging, but today's simulations had equipped him with a broader perspective of not only how humans fought, but why they fought. And in that understanding lay the true essence of warfare. After the intensity of the simulation room, Zarklith's next challenge was unexpectedly personal, a deep dive into the social and cultural aspects of the human cadets at the Academy. Today, he would join them in their leisure and learning environments outside of the direct military training. This part of the exchange program was designed to foster deeper understanding and build bridges between different civilizations, a concept that was relatively new to the fiercely independent Zeltron culture. The day began in the Academy's library, a vast repository of human knowledge spanning centuries. Zarklith wandered the rows of books and holographic data units, each piece a window into the human spirit. The topics ranged from philosophy and ethics to history and science. His guide for the day, a young cadet named Jackson, pointed out several works on human rights, a concept that seemed to permeate much of human thought and action. Here, we learn not just to be soldiers, but also leaders who respect and uphold the dignity of all beings, Jackson explained, showing Zarklith texts on international law and military ethics. The idea that warriors should also be protectors and peacekeepers was a divergence from the Zeltron focus on dominance and strength. As the day progressed, Zarklith attended a series of lectures and discussions. He listened intently as cadets debated strategies not only for winning wars, but for preventing them, emphasizing diplomacy and alliances. The level of intellectual engagement and the value placed on peaceful resolutions was both surprising and challenging to his own beliefs. Lunch was another revelation. Seated in the bustling mess hall, Zarklith observed the camaraderie and light-hearted interactions among the cadets. They shared meals, stories, and laughter, a stark contrast to the hierarchical and isolated meals of the Zeltron forces. The sense of community was strong, and when invited to join a table, Zarklith found himself awkwardly navigating casual conversation, a battle of a different sort. In the afternoon, Zarklith was invited to participate in a rescue exercise, a simulation involving the recovery of injured soldiers from a battlefield. Unlike the Zeltron method of prioritizing the mission over individuals, the humans placed a high emphasis on not leaving anyone behind. He was paired with a team tasked with retrieving a wounded cadet. The operation required careful coordination and a willingness to risk oneself for another, concepts that were both alien and deeply moving to Zarklith. As they successfully completed the exercise, the team leader, Cadet Liu, explained, "Every life is valuable. That's what we fight for." This sentiment echoed throughout the day's lessons and interactions, painting a picture of humanity's complex balance between warrior spirit and compassionate guardianship. The day ended with a cultural exchange evening where cadets presented music, art, and performances from their various backgrounds. Zarklith watched, fascinated yet overwhelmed, as the rich tapestry of human cultures unfolded before him. The diversity and unity displayed were in stark contrast to the uniformity of his own society. Retreating to his quarters that evening, Zarklith felt a mix of exhaustion and enlightenment. The exposure to human culture had not only broadened his understanding of his hosts, but it also ignited a tumult of questions within him about his own people's way of life. The depth of human civilization, with its emphasis on ethical conduct, mutual respect, and cultural richness, was both a challenge and an inspiration. As he lay in bed, the day's experiences lingered, suggesting that the true strength of humanity might lie in their spirit and principles, not just their military prowess. After a day steeped in cultural insights, Zarklith returned to the realm of tactical prowess with the Academy's Strategy Games Day, an event eagerly anticipated by both cadets and trainers. These games, blending elements of traditional board games like chess with advanced holographic simulations, were designed to sharpen the mind, hone decision-making skills, and simulate real-world command scenarios. For Zarklith, it was an opportunity to showcase his strategic acumen in a less physical yet equally challenging arena. The main event was held in the Academy's Simulation Hall, a vast room lined with holographic tables and viewing screens. Cadets and guests gathered, forming teams or competing individually in various challenges. Zarklith was paired against Major Hawkins, a respected strategist known for his unconventional approaches and brilliant tactical mind. As they approached the holographic table, the air was thick with anticipation. The game was set in a simulated planetary invasion scenario where each player commanded forces during an interstellar conflict. The objective was simple: capture the enemy's base while defending your own. However, the strategies involved were anything but simple, requiring foresight, adaptability, and cunning. Major Hawkins greeted Zarklith with a firm handshake and a wry smile. "I've heard about your prowess, Commander. Let's see how you fare in a battle of wits." The game started, and Zarklith initially took a conservative approach, fortifying his defenses while probing Hawkins's lines for weaknesses. His moves were calculated, drawing on the Zeltron philosophy of overpowering the enemy through strength and direct action. However, Major Hawkins employed a vastly different strategy, using feints and diversions to spread Zarklith's forces thin. He launched small, seemingly insignificant skirmishes across multiple fronts, forcing the alien commander to react rather than act. Zarklith adjusted his tactics, shifting resources to counter Hawkins's maneuvers, But with each move, he found himself reacting more to Hawkins's actions rather than following his own battle plan. The human's ability to anticipate and manipulate was unnerving, showcasing a depth of strategic thinking that was both alien and admirable to Zarklith. Mid-game, as Zarklith struggled to regain control, Hawkins launched a daring assault on one of Zarklith's less defended flanks, using a decoy force to draw attention away from his main attacking squad. The move was bold and risky, typical of human military doctrine's emphasis on innovation and psychological warfare. The battle reached its climax as Hawkins's forces breached Zarklith's base perimeter. Despite his best efforts, Zarklith found his defenses overrun by the clever maneuvers of his opponent. The game ended with Major Hawkins's victory, and the room erupted in applause, appreciative of the high-level strategic play. Zarklith, though defeated, was far from disgraced. He acknowledged his opponent with a nod, impressed and enlightened by the experience. "Your ability to weave deception and strategy into an integrated battle plan is exceptional," he conceded, his voice carrying both respect and a trace of bewilderment. Major Hawkins, clapping him on the shoulder, responded, "It's not just about the troops you command, but how you command them. Adaptability, surprise, and understanding the enemy's mindset are as crucial as the firepower at your disposal." As they walked away from the table, Zarklith reflected on the differences in their approaches. The games had provided him with a profound understanding of human strategic depth, emphasizing the psychological components of warfare. This encounter, more than any simulation or drill, highlighted the complexities of human warfare, where mind and metal were intertwined, and victory often depended on outthinking the opponent as much as outfighting them. That evening, as Zarklith reviewed the day's events, he realized that his understanding of military strategy had been fundamentally challenged and expanded. He looked forward to the remaining days at the academy, eager to absorb more of this human wisdom, which seemed as deep and varied as the stars themselves. The training days had begun to wind down, and Zarklith found himself in a reflective mood as he walked alongside Major Hawkins through the quiet corridors of the academy. The simulated battles and strategy games had left him deeply contemplative about not only the capabilities of human warriors, but also their underlying motivations and ethics in warfare. As they strolled, Major Hawkins initiated a candid discussion that Zarklith hadn't anticipated but realized was crucial. "I've noticed you've been quite pensive since the strategy games," Hawkins observed, his voice carrying a mixture of curiosity and understanding. "What's on your mind?" Zarklith paused, choosing his words carefully. "I am unsettled," he admitted, the stark honesty surprising even himself. "Back home, we prize strength and power above all. Our strategies are direct, often brutal. But here, I see a complexity in tactics, a depth of moral consideration. It's unlike anything I've encountered." Major Hawkins nodded, seeming to expect this revelation. "It's true. We've had our share of brutal conflicts, and we've learned some hard lessons. Over time, our military doctrine has evolved. We've come to understand that true strength lies not just in victory, but in how we achieve it. The respect for life, even in the heat of battle, is something we hold dear. It's what we aim to pass on to every cadet here." They reached the Academy's Memorial Hall, a serene space dedicated to those who had fallen in battle. The walls were lined with names, each a solemn reminder of the cost of war. Here, Major Hawkins gestured towards the inscriptions. "These names are not just a reminder of the lives lost. They're a testament to our responsibility to prevent such losses in the future, whenever possible." The weight of his words struck a deep chord within Zarklith. His own culture celebrated warriors who died in battle with little thought for prevention or peace. The human perspective challenged the very foundations of what he had been taught to value. "Why do humans fight?" Zarklith finally asked, the question that had been burning inside him since his arrival. "For many reasons," Hawkins replied, his gaze thoughtful as he looked at the names on the wall. "Sometimes for survival, sometimes for what we believe in: freedom, justice, the protection of our home and loved ones. And sometimes, unfortunately, out of fear or misunderstanding. But the best of us fight to make a better peace, not just a harder war." The conversation lingered in Zarklith's mind as they left the memorial. The day ended with a quiet dinner, where Zarklith found himself observing the human cadets and officers with a new perspective. They were not just potential enemies or allies, they were individuals driven by a complex mix of duty, honor, and a profound sense of humanity. That night, Zarklith lay awake, contemplating the vast gulf between his worldview and that of the humans he had come to know. His mission had been to assess a potential threat, but he was leaving with a profound respect and a deep caution about ever underestimating humans, not only in battle, but in their capacity for empathy and ethical warfare. As his last day approached, Zarklith felt a mix of reluctance and urgency. He was anxious to bring his new understanding back to his people, hoping it might bridge the gap between two vastly different cultures. More than ever, he understood that the strength of a civilization lay not just in its arms and armies, but in its heart and principles. The morning of Zarklith's departure arrived all too quickly. The air was crisp, and a gentle breeze swept across the academy grounds as he prepared to leave. His bags were packed, his reports ready, but as he stood looking out over the fields where he had trained and learned, he felt a pang of unexpected sadness. The Terran Military Academy had transformed from a place of assignment to one of profound personal growth. As he made his way to the departure area, Commander Franklin and several cadets, including Lieutenant Carter and Cadet Liu, were there to see him off. Their faces showed a mix of respect and camaraderie that had been hard-earned over the past weeks. Zarklith, once so sure of his place and purpose, now carried with him questions and insights that would challenge the very fabric of his beliefs. "We hope your time here has been enlightening," Commander Franklin said, offering a hand, which Zarklith took with a firm grip. "Perhaps one day, our paths will cross again, under peaceful circumstances." Zarklith nodded, his voice steady despite the emotions he felt. "I am leaving with more than I came for. Your teachings, the strategies, the simulations, and most importantly, the wisdom of your people's spirit and strength. I hope to share these lessons with my own kind," he responded, his tone sincere. Lieutenant Carter stepped forward with a small gift, a book on human military ethics, a topic that had intrigued Zarklith during his stay. "To remember us by, and maybe to help bridge the gap between our worlds," Carter said with a smile. Accepting the gift, Zarklith felt the weight of the gesture. It symbolized not just a token of remembrance, but a beacon of possible future alliances. He tucked the book carefully away, aware of its symbolic and practical value. As he boarded the shuttle that would take him back to his home world, Zarklith turned for one last look at the academy. The buildings stood silent and dignified against the skyline, but to him, they were alive with the echoes of the lessons and experiences he had gained. The journey back to Zeltron was a time of reflection for Zarklith. He reviewed his reports, filled with tactical analyses and training insights, but also with personal notes on human resilience, adaptability, and ethical considerations in warfare. He realized he was not just returning as a soldier with enhanced knowledge, but as a messenger bearing ideas that could revolutionize his people's understanding of strength and power. Upon his arrival, Zarklith was greeted with ceremony and curiosity. His superiors were eager to learn of his findings, expecting tactical data and weakness analyses. However, they were met with insights on human strength in unity, strategy, and moral warfare, which puzzled many but intrigued a few. As Zarklith shared his experiences, he emphasized the potential of viewing humans not as enemies, but as worthy adversaries, perhaps even allies in the broader galactic context. His words sowed seeds of curiosity and respect for a culture that had managed,